Justin, what a game for this one. I mean, tell me about your group, just the resiliency. We've talked about that a lot last year, but maybe coming up short, handful of times, one or two. But this one, it seemed like this was a lot of the work you put in last year, not to give up, and you guys earned the victory tonight.
Yeah, I think, with this group, just talking to some of the guys that weren't here last year, I've never been on a team that has this much resiliency. There's no panic when we're down 2, down 3. It's happened multiple times this season. Obviously, you want to be up in the game. You don't want to be, clawing your way back. But obviously, it's a game with a lot of good players. It's pro hockey, so just the ability to have no panic, continue to trust in what we're doing, and I think even if it takes to the last 3 seconds, super resilient group, and that's something you really want to have throughout the season.
You ever see a game or been a part of a game where it's tied up with tenths of a second left like that?
I haven't. Anytime we have some really good centers who can snap jaws back, a lot of guys that can finish, and like I said, it's just one of those things where you can feel it. We felt it in the third. We had a lot of chances. We were hemming them in for a long time. It was only a matter of time for us, and like I said, if it takes to the last tenth of a second, we'll take that.
Take me through the overtime winner. We see you bring it up, and they just gave you enough on that right side, and you kicked it into like another gear and took off. What was the play? What was going through your mind when you saw that?
Yeah, I think I started to wind it up, and then kind of took a second to kind of look around, see what was going on, and then saw a lane to beat a guy one-on-one. Obviously, there's a lot of ice, with them having 3 guys, so I was able to kind of, like you said, kick it into another gear and create a little 2-on-1 for myself and put the game away.
What was that energy like in this arena when that thing erupted? I mean, 2 times between the overtime winner and the game-tying goal.
Yeah, obviously it's such a fun place to play. The atmosphere Friday nights, Saturday nights here is, you want to put on a show. Obviously, with the Padres being done, there's some fans up for grabs, and just the city as a whole does such a good job supporting us, and we want to come out here and the message has been playoffs. That's the goal. Obviously, we're taking it game by game, but anytime we can put on a show in front of these fans, it's something special that we get to do, and I know they're happy to be a part of it too.
Last one for me. A little slow start to your game. I'm sure that you wanted at the beginning of the season, but all of a sudden, you're filling the back of that, and you have each of the last 3 game-winning goals for the Gulls. What's it say for you, just a way to keep at it?
Yeah, it's weird year. For me, having a couple goals disallowed. I'm a player that kind of thrives off of my energy, and I think it's hard not to get down. When you have a couple taken off the board, and for me, I put a lot of pressure on myself. To score goals and help this team win, and kind of at the start of the year, didn't love the way I started. Especially the fact that I wasn't helping the team win games. So, I knew it was a matter of time. I really appreciate the boys, coaches sticking with me, through that rough, probably, first couple of weeks. But, I'm on the right track now, and kind of full steam ahead now.
Carpy, first off, have you ever been involved in a game where it's tied up with .4 on the clock or anything less than that?
I don't know. That was tight. Stressed for a second because you saw zeros on the clock, but in my head, when you watch the replay, I thought the pass happened pretty quick from Sash, and Sammy one-timed it in. So, that was exciting. There was no quit in our group, and though we had some good chances, on that 4-minute power play, and we stuck with it.
What was kind of said between periods? You head into the third, you're down 1, you get the tying goal from Justin Bailey. I know they get it back, but this group really turned it on, going on to outshoot them and find a way to win this game. Yeah,
we weren't too happy with our first 2 periods. We thought both of them there was a lot of good at some points, and then stretches where we were feeding their transition and letting them get ozone time against us, and we were having to defend a little bit too much, and so. Yeah, I think maybe just a little bit of desperation, and sometimes you find a second wave of energy in your legs a little bit. It was 5 or 6 days off in between games, so sometimes you're a little disconnected and the rhythm of stuff happens. So yeah, it was a huge win for our fans who've been loyal with us, and nice to get a win for them.
I wanted to ask you about that with this group, with Pechanga Arena. Its place erupts twice. What was that like to be involved in this game, especially on a Friday night? Punk rock night of all things? This was pretty punk rock.
Yeah, it was very punk rock. Yeah, Sammy's goal and his celebration. I'm sure that's what fans are hoping for when they come to a game like this. But yeah, it was nice to reward them, and then Bailey makes a huge play coming all the way down and going 5-1 on the goalie, and he had 2 big ones for us tonight. It's nice to see him heating up, and he's a big part of our team. So it's nice to get that scoring that maybe earlier in the year we weren't giving our goalies and our defense help that way.
Right back at it tomorrow, though. It doesn't end. You got a team that's had the night off. They got to watch the game, it kind of seems like, with the Abbotsford Canucks. And I know they got a lot of injuries, but it's still a DNA with the championship team. How do you guys bounce back and do this again tomorrow?
Yeah, just from my experience last year, they were a really hard team to play against. Whether they had all their guys in their lineup, there were times we played them last year that they were missing guys up to injury or to call-ups, and they were a hard team to play. So that's what we expect. We'll do what we can, the next 21 hours to recover and focus, and we'll come in tomorrow and have meetings, and the coaches will prepare us. But yeah, hopefully we can carry some of this momentum and some of this energy and confidence into tomorrow.
Matt, quite the game. Pechanga interrupting a couple times, but I guess the first one, ever been involved in a game where a goal is scored with 0.4 seconds left, or even anything shorter?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but that was certainly some dramatic hockey for our fans, and unbelievable for the guys to be able to show that kind of resiliency and poise and be able to come out on top.
What did you say to this group to kind of turn things around? It seemed like it was a bit of a sleepy first period, and as the game kind of progressed, you guys got to your game, especially in the third period, out shooting them, and then finding the 2 game-tying goals.
Sometimes when you have these long stretches without gameplay and you're playing a team that's more in a game rhythm, it's slow to get going. You don't want it to be that way, it just sort of is. And so, with some changes in our lineup and some pieces moving around, it can also there can be some thinking instead of doing, and I think we're a victim of that early in the game. And as soon as we started, be able to play behind them and get into their end a little bit more, all of a sudden, the game started to tilt, and then, the theatrics late, was pretty amazing.
Sam Colangelo, we know what he can do. I mean, what was that boost for you guys to get him in the lineup, and then it seemed like he really started to settle in, especially late?
It's a big-time goal. I think Sam would tell you that he knows he can play better than what he showed tonight in a lot of ways, but at the end, he cashes in big, and it's a big-time goal for our team.
Justin Bailey was slow to start, but all of a sudden, man, he caught on fire, and he's got each of the last 3 game-winning goals for you guys. And he seems to drive a lot of different things, even just around the ice. Drew that extra penalty in front of the net that leads to the power play goal in the winner in overtime as well. What are you seeing from him, the way he stuck to it and is now being rewarded?
He's skating. When he's skating, he's a big man, has skill, but when he's skating, it drives his play, and he's doing a lot of work for us right now, and I think that's his 4th goal in 6 games or something like that. So good on Justin, and hopefully he can keep it rolling.
Pechanga Arena, to this group, you had a packed building, Friday night, the concert going on. It seemed like it was very punk rock to claw your way back in and take the win. But what can you say about the way the crowd support was and to give them that show at the end?
The fans were amazing, and we felt them pulling for us all the way through. To be able to have an ending like that and get to see them erupt a couple of times, it's a really cool night in Pechanga.
Abbotsford Canucks tomorrow, so you go right back at all that energy. How do you avoid that kind of emotional letdown? You come in tomorrow, this is a group in the Canucks. I know they're bottom of the standings and may not have the same roster they had last year as a Calder Cup champion, but certainly your group has exhausted a lot of energy from this night, but how do you avoid that kind of letdown when you come in tomorrow?
To look at these guys as anything other than the reigning champs is the wrong approach, and I think our approach is we weren't real happy with the way we played for a lot of the game tonight. We'll take that win. It was a resilient effort, but we've got stuff to improve on for tomorrow.